But before I go to bed, I've got some TV to watch.
True.
And figure out some history lessons.
Anyway, Jeremy's here today to tell me about Max Headroom.
Well, okay, so
Hijacking.
to understand the story, you have to understand Max Headroom. So I assume neither of you really know.
I know who he is now that I've seen the picture.
It's been a while.
So
I have seen this, but it's been a while.
well, Max Headroom is not exactly the hacker.
Right.
So keep that in mind, because what I'm going to be talking about is when someone hijacked a TV station to broadcast their own
Hijacked a plane and flew it into...
No.
I have seen video evidence of the Pentagon getting hit by a missile and not by a plane.
What?
Yes.
So Max Headroom Max Headroom was introduced to audiences, and this was in the 80s, the late 80s. He was introduced to audiences as something entirely new at the time. He was a television host who was not human. He was the first, quote, computer-generated TV presenter. And Max appeared on screen as a strange digital personality. You see him from half his torso up, typically. He'd be on screen and he would have weird. He was like a weird plastically looking face that kind of didn't quite move right.
It looks like a mask.
And he'd have glitchy movements, and his voice would stutter or be weird and weird audio sounds, and he'd have the pitch of his voice changing while he's talking. And he would give commentary on topical issues with being arrogant and trying to be witty, and was imitating and making fun of late night talk show hosts. The character started in the character was British, started in Britain, created by George Stone, Annabelle Jankel, and Rocky Morton, and his personality was intentional. He was supposed to be satire and an exaggeration of particularly annoying American television hosts at the time and the news. They're also just making fun of media, kind of basically the same as it is today, except this was an AI or computer generated instead of a person doing it. He was first only really going to be in a TV movie. And so he becomes a television personality who exists only within broadcast signals and computer networks. And he challenges corporations and other people who are trying to control society. But it didn't use journalism. Instead, he was sarcastic and made jokes and got people aware of events through this medium. And after the movie was successful, people liked him specifically in the movie. He very quickly got a spin-off show, his own show called the Max Headroom Show.
Really?
And in this, he used music videos, offered commentary on topics, even had guests on his show. And all this is real. I'm not making up any of this. This is not fake. And eventually, after a couple years, they had a U.S. version, which I think was the same guy. Just aired it over here. And he was so popular, he became a spokesperson for the new Coke, because this was the time period where Coke was trying their new formula called the New Coke that turns out nobody liked, so they had to go back to Coca-Cola Classic.
Right.
So he was spokesperson for that, and also had commercials making fun of Pepsi and talking about the new Coke. And with the catchphrase "catch the wave." All right, so that's Max Headroom. So I have a video in Discord. I have two videos, but this is the first video. I can't play it in the podcast directly, so I'll just take a screenshot and put it up for y'all, so you can at least see what he looks like and you can hear the audio. But here's a clip of one of his mini segments, so y'all can kind of see what he was like. You and Andrew, Vandy.
I have seen just one video of this guy. I didn't know that he was a robot or a computer generated.
All right, are you ready?
Ugh, I don't like that.
I think it's a sad reflection on our society that whenever a new disease appears, the media automatically spread it around far faster than people ever can.
What's up with the background?
Take the epidemic that's threatening us all today. I'm talking, of course, about ads. Only a few days after the first outbreak of ads in the newspapers, we had to suffer ads in magazines, ads on the radio, and of course, the quickest way to catch ads today is simply to turn on your
TV.
Amen, brother.
Within seconds, your home will be infected by TV ads. And just look what
You've got to suffer.
Huh.
So that's Max Headroom.
So how long were these clips again?
Well, it was a full show, so he would have segments, but I don't. Most of the stuff I find are very short clips like that
Okay.
or compilations. So I actually don't know. I never watched the show.
Do you want me to pull up the second one?
Not yet. I'll tell you. I'm not. It won't be that much further. But that's who Max Headroom was. That's the style of videos. There was another one I saw that I almost showed where he's talking about says something along the lines of I've been getting a lot of letters in the mail with you guys telling me something about you don't appreciate having a robot come up and talk to you about nonsense stuff, and then he pauses and he goes, and I don't think you should talk about the U.S. president like that.
What?
So that's pretty funny, but I thought that was a better representation. And also I love that he's complaining about ads and we're still complaining about ads.
Dude, for
Everything
real.
he said is spot on,
For real.
and he called them a disease.
They are. It's even literally a million times worse than what it was back then.
He was ahead of the time.
Pretty much. I saw a few clips trying to find one to give y'all, and pretty much everything he talked about was this is still relevant today.
Yeah.
Except the Coke stuff. So in reality, Max Headroom was not actually computer generated at all. That was just his presentation and what they said.
Okay, that makes sense because for him to be computer generated and looking like that, I mean, that's pretty advanced stuff.
Yeah.
So-
No, they couldn't do that.
USA, baby.
Come
on.
But the reason why the background was weird because this is the 80s. They thought, oh, this looks computer generated.
Yeah.
That's why the background's all weird. But he wasn't actually. He was played by actor Matt Frewer, who had prosthetic makeup, contact lenses, and a plastic molded suit. And then he was in front of a green screen with harsh lighting, and then they did effects to make him stuttery and mess with his voice. So he's not really AI.
So it wasn't a hack?
No, that's just Max Headroom. That's just to understand. Technically, he has nothing to do with the hack.
That's what they all say.
Yes, they all say he has nothing to do with the hack. Okay, so Max Headroom is popular at the time. Pretty much everybody knows who he is. It's in November of 1987. It's time for the WGN TV channel number 9 to do sports. So they're reviewing the day or the week for sports. Regular stuff. I know you guys watched TV
In the 80s.
and seen, but I know y'all have seen on news or on stations, they'll have, here's the sports segment, and they'll talk about sports for 10 minutes or whatever.
And now to Larry with sports.
Yes. So that's, it's Dan Roan, but that's the segment we're in. So it's kind of prime
I
time.
know that name.
It's kind of prime time. It's toward the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
They're talking about sports. When suddenly in the middle of his segment, the signal was disrupted and the screens cut black, and then a different transmission started going through.
Get him.
Was it a diesel transmission or a V8?
Ooh.
Neither. It
Ford or
was
Chevy.
it was
V12.
the Max Headroom incident.
Whoa.
Boom.
So a pre-recorded video of someone dressed up like Max Headroom with the background imitating his background popped up and started talking. But pretty quickly, the engineers who were on site working, because it's live television, were able to kick out that transmission and put theirs back up. So it was like a few seconds, not very long, but long enough for people to see something weird happened, but not enough to. And it weirded out the hosts. They were talking about it like, I don't know what that was. Right.
So they got like,
Hello.
wow. They got the channel back.
Yes. Because the engineers were there and they immediately figured out what was happening and shut it down.
Okay.
So it lasted what, about 10 seconds?
I don't know. Not very long.
Was it from the outside?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was not from inside. I think I will talk about that later, but I'll just go ahead and clarify. It was not coming from the inside, it was coming from the outside. 2 hours later, now it's night. It's no longer live television. Doctor Who is on.
Yes.
Apparently, I've never been on live television before.
Yep. That guy.
And during Doctor Who, it happens again. But this time, there's no one there to stop it. So the full thing gets broadcast. And it's the same people, but I think it's a different video. It's still pre-recorded. And maybe it was the same one. I don't know. But it's Max Headroom. Or it's not actually him, but it's someone wearing a mask of him.
Impersonating
him. So, I have another video. Again, I can't play this for the actual podcast, but you guys can hear the audio. But you guys can listen to it, and then we'll talk about it and break down what happened after. So, it's going to start off.
I can't believe Doctor Who was this long ago.
There's like really bad Doctor Who. So, this is Doctor Who.
I'll get you a hot drink, miss.
Some dry
Freaking liberal.
I'm going to have to cut out the very end probably entirely because there's slight cussing. But
Theme song to Clutch Cargo.
yes.
You sure this wasn't Blake?
Oh,
Whoa!
God. Yeah, like I said, I can't.
Whoa! Brother.
And that's what happened. You can pause it now. So
Wild.
So yeah, imagine you're watching TV and that happens.
That's like, it's...
I just wanted to watch the sports.
I've seen the clip, like a short clip of that. I had never
You haven't seen the full?
one.
The
No.
full?
That was pretty
Okay.
good.
So, I'm not gonna go over every tiny little detail of what happened, but basically, cuts into a guy clearly wearing a mask that I guess is supposed to be Max Headroom. To me, it doesn't look quite right, but maybe it's sunglasses. I don't know. Starts off calling somebody a nerd. Not really sure who he's talking to.
You nerd.
It looked like they just had a corrugated steel behind them on
Yeah.
a rig going back and forth, spinning.
Yeah,
Spinning head kick.
left and right.
So yeah, he says that, and then he says some stuff that you can't understand what he's saying at all whatsoever. He calls Chuck Swirsky a freaking liberal, and Chuck Swirsky's like some sports commentator.
Yeah.
Maybe he didn't like his
He was
taste.
Chicago Bull. And I'm upset because I definitely put notes in here better than this, and I don't know what happened to my explanation. So I'm trying to scroll to see if I put it further down, and there's not here. So,
USA, baby.
but he calls him a liberal. The background is a cheap piece of corrugated metal that's just spinning
Yeah.
to imitate that's what you were saying. That's all it was.
Yeah.
He says "catch the wave," referring to the Coke thing, and throws a can of soda at the screen. Obviously, like I said earlier, because that's what he was known for. And then he starts humming the theme to an old late 50s, early 60s cartoon called Clutch Cargo, which I'd never even heard of before.
Nope. Never heard of it.
And so I actually looked it up to see what he was referring to, because he says, "I still see the X." I'm like, I don't understand what this means.
What does that mean?
So,
What do the numbers mean, Mason?
Clutch Cargo.
What do you mean?
Clutch Cargo was like a very horrible cartoon. All the cartoons of this time period were horrible. They did space stuff. They're flying, but like cartoons nowadays and stuff like the Annoying Orange or whatever. But like the mouth is human
I love
mouth.
how you say annoying nowadays.
Wow.
Annoying Orange. That was 2012, brother.
Yes, but that's the most
That's
recent thing
sad.
I can think of
Yeah.
that has that.
Man, I used to watch that guy all the time.
But so like their mouth movements are mouths. They're not actually cartoons. They don't
Yeah.
animate the mouth. Clutch Cargo was one of those shows that had that,
That's terrible.
and it didn't look good. I watched some of it to see it looks horrible. And kids who grew up watching this show would all say that they didn't like it and that the mouse creeped them out because it just was unappealing and was unsettling and they didn't like it. So like that's the main thing anyone watching this show remembered about it. Well, production-wise, the animators had to use guide marks to position where the mouth was for the overlay so they'd have it in the right spot on the face. And typically the guide mark was an X. So when he says, "I still see the X," what he's basically, because he's singing the theme song to this cartoon.
Yeah.
And he said, "I still see the X." It's basically him saying, "I still see that stupid mouth in my head. I hate it."
This guy's a schizo.
Yeah.
Like basically he's just like, "I hate that's what he's doing." He's like referencing those annoying mouths.
So is he saying that he's got voices in his head? Or
No. He's just saying
he's
like
just referencing that little
All around me
He's
are
just-
familiar
he's just trying to say-
faces.
in a sort of coded way of like, despite it being 20 years later, I still see those stupid mouths.
Okay.
But in a coded way, not directly. So instead of saying I still see the mouse, he's like, "I still see the X."
Yeah.
The X referring to the marker
And
where the
if you
mouse
know,
would be.
if you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
There's not 100% confirmation on that, and other people were saying it's like referencing the end of the episode or referencing something else. But like after I dug into it, I'm pretty sure it's one of those
I am trying to pull up and watch a video, but every video I'm looking up
of what
on YouTube of Clutch Cargo, it's saying video unavailable. So I'm going through Google, so I'm just gonna go right through YouTube.
I found it pretty easily. Here, Vandy, put this up. I was gonna say I'll put this in the Discord. Put this up on the screen. There's no way we're watching the whole thing. It's 20 minutes, but
Oh, we're here for the long
no,
haul.
we're not. See, look how horrible that looks.
Yeah, that's one I just clicked on. Oh, that's
Clutch
terrible.
Cargo and his pals Spinner and Paddlefoot in another exciting adventure, The Friendly Headhunter.
Friendly.
Right.
What happened? Somebody
There's like
murdered?
no
Got
movement.
the whole
It's just
police
There's
force
just
here.
What have they given away?
They're doing the best they can.
there's drawing images.
this
and-
was like
It's like when
The
anime
cheapest budget.
does the zoom in and they're talking in their head the whole time.
no, this is like the cheapest budget possible for a cartoon.
Yeah.
That's horrible. I hate that.
This was before they had ads.
Burn it with fire.
So anyway, after he makes the reference to all that, he says, "I just made a giant masterpiece for all the greatest world newspaper news, WGN." Like the world's greatest newspaper is what WGN. So he's saying,
Yeah.
making fun of WGN and being able to hack in. He's like, "Ha ha." And then he does some other stuff I'm not even going to get into what he did. But basically, most of the time he's just mocking the television station and people. And then it cuts out and goes right back to Doctor Who.
He's just a big troll.
So this part makes me laugh just when I think about what the guy actually said. But like, they obviously have to talk about it in the news, and they're talking about it before they know anything. And so they're having an interview with this one guy, and who they're like, he might have an idea of how it was done, and this is what the guy says when he's giving a general idea on how it was done. He said, someone wants to get into your house, they can find a way to do that. And I guess likewise, if someone wants to interfere with your signal, they can find a way to do that. So basically what he says is, we think that they found out how to do it by finding a way to do it.
Yeah.
This is basically what he said. It's like, thank you.
Makes sense. That's a great explanation.
USA, baby.
So people, and it would be the case if it happened now, most people just thought it was funny.
Yeah.
They were just like, whatever. But the government and the stations obviously were not thrilled.
Yeah.
Because one, it's a security thing.
Yeah.
Two, copycats could broadcast bad things. And I mean, he already showed what he showed and did. So like, they're trying to find him. FBI joins in. And they start threatening, saying that that's $100,000 penalty or a year in jail or both. At the time, broadcast signal intrusions were considered rare because it would take a lot to do that. It had to be somebody who knows what they're doing. You could not just anybody could.
Yeah, he had to work in the industry or something.
You would not only would you have to know how to do it, but you'd have to have the equipment to do it, and you'd have to know where to set up the equipment, because basically they set up whatever their signal was, sending their signal outside of the station, but it had to be at the right distance at the right spot, and then they would shoot the signal at the receiving signal that the station was sending to, and it would have to be like a certain way to block out one and do that. So
I wonder if it went to everybody that was on that station.
Well, yeah, that's how that works.
Yes, yeah, everyone who was watching saw that.
Okay. So it wasn't, well, it was antenna back then, so like if the normal TV broadcast had a longer range, or I wonder if it was just like one specific area. But anyway, go ahead.
Pretty much, though, this was already a copycat, not of the content, but a year earlier, HBO had someone do something similar with theirs. So there's a good chance either this was them testing it, or they were working with the other person, or at the very least, they saw someone else do it and said, hey, I can do this too.
Yeah, you go through all of that and you call someone else a nerd.
The person who did the other thing with HBO probably wasn't the same person, because I forgot about this detail. The person who did that sent a signal to bring awareness to what HBO was doing, because HBO, according to him, McDougal, the person who, again, this is the first incident in HBO that had happened.
What a name.
McDougal had said that HBO was gouging satellite customers to get them to switch to cable. And he didn't like that and was trying to get him to stop. The government wouldn't stop him. No regulation was happening, so he did what he did to interfere. Mm-hmm. And he was right. That's what HBO was doing.
Is cable pretty much dead now?
Yes.
Good.
I saw one guy, he was trying to get people to go back to satellite.
Really?
Yeah, because he was like, y'all are spending so much money on all these platforms,
subscriptions
and subscriptions.
Yeah.
He said, meanwhile, I've got my no, he didn't even have satellite. He had an antenna. Yeah. That's what he bought.
You get
an antenna.
The digital antennas?
Yeah, that he hooked up. And he's like, I'm over here watching the game for free for $13, one-time purchase for $13.
Good for him.
Yeah.
The streaming services and all that stuff, it could be
They're
something
getting too much.
That brings life back to cable.
Well, I was saying that several weeks ago, and y'all were saying,
and I disagree with you. I disagree with you. I do disagree with you.
Do you guys
But
remember?
You just said that it was going to bring it back.
No, I didn't. I said it might be me, and I was going to say if cable manages to come back.
Yeah.
And I said I don't think so.
remember-
Not that it's impossible, and that's still my stance. I don't think it's likely, but if it does come back, it will be because of the streaming.
I think it will come back.